Welcome to my Smart Info channel. If you like boring history stories for sleep, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tonight you will leave behind the hurried pace of modern life and step into a world far removed from the chatter and glare of today's world. A place where time felt still, where days were marked not by excitement. How long could you stand this boredom? I'm waiting for your comments. I would be very happy if you subscribe to my Smart Info channel. So settle in, close your eyes, and allow yourself to drift as we step quietly through the gates of a medieval monastery. But by relentless routine, where the mind was tested not by battle or politics, but by isolation, ritual, and silence. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to settle into the quiet rhythm of time, a rhythm that beats slowly, softly, like the distant toll of a monastery bell. Tonight, you will leave behind the hurried pace of modern life and step into a world far removed from the chatter and glare of today's world. Meet an extraordinary mystic who dreamed beyond her walls, unravel forgotten secrets buried in ancient manuscripts, and glimpse the contrasting splendor of the wealthiest monastic orders. Among them, you might find a weathered monk, Brother Thomas, his eyes filled with the quiet wisdom of countless prayers. Together, you follow the ancient script, your voice joining the chorus of voices raised in unison, echoing the timeless words that have resonated within these very walls for centuries past. When the service ends, the day is truly over. The refectory is cleared, the fire banked for the night. One by one, the monks retire to their cells, the sound of their footsteps fading into the deepening quiet. For now, it is only silence that remains, and the soft glow of the moon filtering through the Visoki windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the stillness. The day has ended, but a new dawn awaits, and with it the promise of new experiences, new encounters, new chapters in the unfolding story of your journey through Medieval Monastery. A young novice, Brother William, eager to learn the ways of the order, his youthful piety evident in every action. Or perhaps a visiting bishop, his ornate robes a stark contrast to the simple habits of the monks, there to ensure the spiritual well-being of the community. Each has their own story, their own reasons for being here, and each will play a part in your unfolding journey through this living tapestry of medieval life. There will be no rush, no urgency, only the soft unfolding of distant lives, the comforting murmur of history, and the gentle company of time itself. So, Lynn, close your eyes and allow yourself to drift as we step quietly through the gates of a medieval monastery. You will journey back centuries into the cold stone corridors and silent cloisters of a medieval monastery. A place where time felt still, where days were marked not by excitement, but by relentless routine, where the mind was tested, not by battle or politics, but by isolation, ritual, and silence. But that is only the beginning. Over the course of this calm and steady journey, you will experience the weight of medieval discipline. The year is 1253. As the last rays of sun bleed out across the Tuscan hills, you arrive at your destination, the high and winding road behind you. The sprawling vineyards and olive groves of the Italian countryside stretching out like a rich carpet beneath a fading, fiery sky. Before you stands the stark silhouette of a fortified church, its bell tower, a sentinel against the gathering dusk. Pushing open the heavy wooden doors, you step inside, where the air is thick with the scent of incense and age. The murmur of voices fades as you move through the echoing space, past worn flagstones and shadowed arches, deeper into the cool, quiet heart of the monastery. Here, the rhythm of the day slows to the measured pace of a turning world. Your fellow guests are a diverse lot, pilgrims, merchants, nobles, and clergy, all seeking solace or service within these ancient walls. As the evening chill sets in, you gather with the community for Vespers, the final prayer of the day. The bell tolls, announcing the passing of yet another hour. I rise, my joints aching with the effort, my skin raw from the rough wool that is my only covering. Outside, the world is alive with the sounds of awakening, birdsong and the murmur of life. Together we face the altar, our heads bowed in reverence. But true nourishment comes not just from what we eat, but from the words that sustain us. We gather again in the dining hall, not to break our bread in merry fellowship, but to consume our meager porridge in solemn silence. As the first rays of sunlight touch the stained glass windows, we begin our prayers. The Latin words are a balm to my soul, a soothing ritual that has become the very air I breathe. I kneel once more in prayer, my voice rising in the stillness. Outside, the wind whispers tales of the changing seasons. But within these cloistered walls, there is no change, only the eternal present of devotion. The cycle of prayer and work leaves little room for introspection, for the contemplation of life's mysteries or the exploration of one's inner self. For many, this discipline becomes a refuge, a shield against the uncertainties of the outside world. But for some it also becomes a prison, a confinement of the spirit as well as the body. But here, within these four walls, there is only the echo of my own breathing. And as I drift into slumber, I dream not of distant lands or kindred faces, but of endless rows of books and the whisper of ancient wisdom. The chill of the stone floor seeps up through my habit, reminding me that dawn is still distant and the night is long. He delved into ancient texts, uncovering secrets that lay hidden from his pious brethren. And as his understanding grew, so did his restlessness. Join us next time as we explore the perilous journey of a monk who dared to question the boundaries of faith and reason. The confines of his cloistered world suddenly seemed to narrow, its rituals too stifling. A conflict arose within him, a battle between the solace of tradition and the allure of forbidden wisdom. And as the years passed, his struggle intensified, threatening to shatter the fragile peace of his monastery. In the flickering lamplight, I see the worn grooves in the pages of my psalm book, a testament to countless prayers whispered in this silent chamber. I join my brothers in the chapel, our footsteps silent on the stone floor. The scratch of my quill against the parchment is the only sound that breaks the silence. My hand cramps, not from the effort, but from the ceaseless repetition that demands unwavering focus. Each letter I form must be a thing of beauty, an inscription of devotion. When the prayers are done, I return to my cell, my stomach growling in anticipation of the morning meal. Once more, the bell calls us to labor. In the scriptorium, the hours pass in a disciplined rhythm. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, I am reminded of the world outside these walls, a world of which I am now a part. The scent of flowers carried on the wind, the laughter of children playing, the bustling activity of a marketplace. These sounds are like distant echoes, half-remembered dreams. We gather once more in the chapel for the afternoon prayers. And as the shadows lengthen, I feel the weight of the day receding. The final bell toll echoes in my ears, and I returned to my cell, seeking the solace of solitude. The hours drift by, measured only by the dwindling fire in the hearth. Sleep comes fitfully, punctuated by the midnight toll summoning me back to the chapel for the final prayers of the night. Within these ancient stones, the rhythm of life is measured by the tolling of bells. And so it was with one monk who, despite the strictures of his order, found himself drawn to the forbidden arts, the pursuit of knowledge deemed heretical by the rigid doctrines of the monastery. Will his pursuit of knowledge bring enlightenment or destruction? And how will his fellow monks respond to the encroaching shadows of doubt and heresy? And now, my friends, let us slip back into the hallowed halls of the past and explore the next captivating facet of the medieval world. Ah, yes, the legendary library of the Abbey. Imagine, if you will, the scent of aged parchment and leather, the hushed whispers of ages past, and the soft rustle of turning pages that have witnessed countless prayers and incantations. Ah, my inquisitive companions, what a splendid question you pose. Picture, if you please, a world not so different from our own, where literacy was a treasured skill. Did you know that during this era, it was commonly believed that magical creatures roamed freely throughout the countryside, lurking in shadowy forests and haunting desolate wastelands? Now, if you wish to continue your journey through time and uncover more secrets of the medieval world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us next time for more exciting adventures. Until then, may your days be merry and bright, and may the spirit of adventure guide you always. Enchanting fairies with their mischievous antics, fearsome dragons hoarding their precious treasures, and enigmatic unicorns with their celestial grace were just a few of the mythical beings that captured the human imagination during this mystical time. Moreover, medieval folklore was deeply intertwined with the natural world, with animals often symbolizing certain virtues or vices. For instance, the humble mouse represented cleanliness and humility, while the majestic lion embodied courage and nobility. Even inanimate objects like rings and mirrors held symbolic meaning, representing eternity and vanity respectively. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of medieval lore was the belief in the supernatural. Spirits, ghosts, and demons were believed to inhabit the physical world, interacting with humans and influencing their lives in both positive and negative ways. Superstitions were also rife, with people fearing everything from witches and warlocks to evil spirits and the devil himself. Despite their sometimes terrifying nature, these beliefs and superstitions were an integral part of medieval life. People sought the help of saints and holy relics to ward off evil, and pilgrimages to holy sites were undertaken in the hope of experiencing miracles firsthand. And the written word held the power to captivate, educate, and inspire. In this era, individuals of noble birth, or those with a thirst for knowledge, would often send their children to specialized institutions known as scriptoria, where a dedicated community of scribes diligently copied manuscripts under the soft glow of flickering candles. It was within these very scriptoria that precious texts were reproduced, ensuring the preservation of invaluable knowledge for generations to come. These scribes, some might say monks or nuns, so very diligently, carefully penned each letter, each word, each illustration, ensuring that the essence of the original work was faithfully preserved. This, my friends, was how books made their way into the hands of monks and nuns, becoming cherished companions in their pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and intellectual exploration. It is here, in this sanctuary of script and story, that we find ourselves transported to a realm where faith and folklore intertwine in the most enchanting ways. Now, let us pause and ponder a truly intriguing query. How did books find their way into the hands of monks and nuns? Now let us venture further into the mystical realm of medieval manuscripts and unravel the secrets held within their time-worn pages. As we delve into these ancient texts, we shall encounter tales of chivalry, romance, and adventure that will transport us to a world of knights-errant and fair maidens. Alongside these captivating narratives, we shall also discover accounts of harrowing battles and heroic deeds that will test our courage and determination. Moreover, we shall explore the depths of human emotion as we read of love-struck couples, star-crossed lovers, and the unbreakable bonds of family and friendship. And let us not forget the enigmatic characters that populate these pages. From cunning villains to wise mentors, each one meticulously crafted to captivate our imaginations. Prepare to be spellbound as we immerse ourselves in the enchanting world of medieval literature. And now, dear listeners, let us turn our attention to the captivating lore of the medieval period. And there you have it, my friends, a glimpse into the magical, mysterious realm of medieval lore. The grand facade of Westminster Abbey speaks of 1,000 years of power, faith, and legend. Yet few know that this mighty structure began life as a humble monastery. Your support means the world to us. Now close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the tranquility of the cloisters envelop you. Imagine the gentle murmur of prayers echoing through the stone arches. Feel the soft carpet of fallen leaves beneath your feet as you stroll through the gardens. In this sacred space, find solace, and let the echoes of the past whisper their ancient wisdom. In the 960s, a small community of monks arrived in London, invited by the king to establish a house of prayer amidst the city's clamor. Their leader, a man who had become St. Dunstan, is determined to build a place of peace, a sanctuary from the noise and strife of the kingdom. His vision was not merely a church, but a haven of learning, a scriptorium where monks could copy ancient texts, preserving knowledge for future generations. Over the decades, the monastery grew. Kings came and went. A new abbey church was consecrated in 1065, its twin towers reaching for the heavens. But life here was not all contemplation and prayer. The monks were not hermits, but active members of society, and the abbey thrived due to the wealth of its holdings. Its fields stretched across the countryside, providing sustenance. Craftsmen and merchants paid tithes on their wares, ensuring prosperity. And when royalty sought a place of solace, they often chose the abbey, showering the monks with gifts and grants. For in the 11th century, donation to the church was a surefire way to curry favor with God and ensure one-ass place in the afterlife. But this prosperity attracted not only pilgrims and royalty, but also those seeking to exploit the abbey's riches. Bandits and robbers often targeted the monks, forcing them to bolster their defenses. By the 12th century, the walls were reinforced, watchtowers manned, and a moat dug around the entire complex. Still, the monks persevered, continuing their work, copying manuscripts, tending their fields, and praying for the souls of the faithful. One of the greatest treasures they produced was the Liber Vitae, or Book of Life, a massive illuminated manuscript detailing the deeds of the abbey's benefactors. Each entry was a prayer for the soul of a donor, carefully written and gorgeously illustrated, creating a visual feast that has survived for 900 years. However, the life of a monk was not without its complexities. While the vow of poverty forbade personal wealth, the higher clergy often accumulated considerable power. In 1085, Anselm, the Archbishop of Canterbury, refused to accept the royal investiture of a bishop unless he received a papal bull granting him control over all church appointments in England. King William the Conqueror, incensed by this challenge to his authority, banished Anselm, igniting a struggle over the right to appoint church leaders. It would not be settled for another 400 years. As the centuries rolled on, the abbey saw periods of great accomplishment alongside times of turbulence. During the reign of Henry VIII, monasteries like Westminster faced dissolution. King Henry, seeking to end the power of the papacy in England, seized church lands and dissolved the orders, scattering the monks and destroying countless works of art and scholarship. Yet somehow much of the abbey's treasure survived, preserved for the nation. After the English Reformation, Westminster Abbey became a parish church, but its grandeur remained, hosting coronations, royal weddings, and funerals of kings and queens. Even in the fires of Henry VIII's wrath, the spirit of St. Dunstan's vision endured, making it a silent witness to the rise and fall of empires. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the past. If you'd like to continue exploring history's mysteries, please stay tuned for more content. What's this? There are broad, ornate gates of one of medieval Europe's wealthiest and most magnificent monasteries, Cluny Abbey. Imagine yourself walking slowly beneath towering arches, smooth, well-worn stones beneath your feet. The air filled not with the emptiness of poverty, but with quiet opulence. Cluny, founded in the year 910 in the gentle hills of Burgundy, was no simple rural monastery. Here monks followed the strict Benedictine rule, the formula for a holy life that emphasized prayer, work, and community. But their days were softened by privilege, surrounded by richness that few outside these walls would ever experience. Your day here begins, as always, with prayer. But the chapel at Cluny is no humble stone room. It is a vast, echoing basilica, the largest in Europe before St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome. It's filled with marble columns, golden chandeliers, and colorful frescoes depicting saints and angels gazing serenely from the walls above. The morning meal, too, differs from the meager bread and gruel of lesser abbeys. In Cluny, food arrived from abundant farmlands, from wealthy patrons, from the generosity of kings and nobles seeking favor with God. Breakfast might feature fresh eggs, soft cheese, warm bread, baked with a hint of honey, perhaps even fish or meat on certain days. Delicacies that most peasants beyond the abbey walls would never taste in their lifetime. After prayers, your duties might involve supervising the vast estates owned by the abbey. Fields stretching over hills, vineyards ripening under the sun, forests rich with timber and game. You would not work the land yourself, but manage the laborers who did. Men who paid rent and harvest, and gave service in return for protection and spiritual guidance. Imagine now walking through the monastery's beautiful cloisters. Stone pathways lined with carved arches, neatly tended gardens, fountains murmuring quietly, a haven of calm and abundance. At midday, you join your fellow monks in the grand refectory, a hall so large that voices vanish into the rafters. Servants bring food upon polished trays, stews rich with herbs, bread still warm. Wine from the abbey's own vineyards, poured carefully into simple but sturdy goblets. Though conversation remains minimal, a monk might read aloud from Scripture or the writings of church fathers. The atmosphere remains peaceful, almost regal. The afternoons pass in study, in careful contemplation. intending to the administrative duties of running a small kingdom, for that is what Cluny was, an independent domain, free from the interference of local lords, answering only to the Pope himself. Perhaps you would visit the scriptorium, but here the desks are broader, the lighting better. Scribes working on illuminated manuscripts, capital letters gilded with gold leaf, the margins alive with delicate vines and colorful beasts. Or perhaps you would oversee artisans at work, sculptors carving stone, blacksmiths forging tools, brewers perfecting ale. As evening draws near, the vespers echo softly through the halls, and the sun sinks behind the distant hills. Supper arrives lighter than the midday meal, but still plentiful. And then comes Compline, the final prayers of the day, candles flickering gently, the chants low and measured, guiding your thoughts towards quiet rest. Your cell at Cluny is more spacious, thick blanket upon a wooden bed, perhaps even a small window letting in the cool night air. Comfort, for a monk of Cluny, was not a sin, but a sign of divine blessing. So life here follows the same rhythmic prayers, but softened with comfort, marked by abundance, guided by quiet dignity. Outside these walls, peasants toil from sunrise to sunset. Nobles plot and feud. Merchants haggle in crowded streets. But here within the grand abbey, life flows slowly, serenely, like a gentle river beneath a vast, endless sky. As you settle into your imagined cell for the night, let the quiet wealth of Cluny, the murmuring fountains, and the distant chants lull your mind, calming it, preparing it for peaceful rest. But now our journey draws to a close, and we shall return softly to the present, reflecting on the long stretch of centuries and the quiet strength of forgotten lives. Well, kind of like a really fun, engaging game. If you're interested, you can find the link to this website below. Now let's get back to the video. 8. Let the dusty scent of ancient manuscripts drift away now. As we step outside the small, modest libraries, now, as the final notes fade away, leaving behind an echoing silence, I invite you to close your eyes. Imagine yourself enveloped in the tranquil darkness, letting go of the day's concerns as you drift into the quiet embrace of night. And now, the bells grow distant, their sound fading into the hush of memory. The air is heavy with the scent of incense and aged stone. Above you, the ceiling is lost in shadow, the outlines of arches and vaulting softened by the play of light and shade. In the flickering lamplight, you see rows of narrow beds, holding the imprint of the monk who slept there, their dreams as silent as the chamber itself. You share a meal of coarse bread and thin soup, each bite bringing a strange sense of peace as you savor the quiet company of strangers united in their devotion. Your eyes grow accustomed to the gloom, revealing courtyards overgrown with moss. Ivy, you kneel on the cold stone floor, the chill seeping through your clothes as you follow the rhythm of ancient words and gestures. The flickering candlelight dances in your sight, painting the weathered faces of saints and angels adorning the chapel walls. Creeping vines, hinting at a time when nature's embrace was even more profound within these silent walls, blending with the scent of incense and beeswax candles to create a sensory experience both strange and comforting. You watch, mesmerized as they illuminate letters with vibrant colors, transforming words into works of art. You find yourself drawn into the ebb and flow of their devotion, feeling a sense of connection to these men who lived so deeply within these four walls. Stained glass depicting scenes from the Bible adorns the windows, each pane telling a story of faith and sacrifice. Time seems to slow, allowing you to attune yourself to the subtle symphony of bird song and rustling leaves. And when you wake, you carry a piece of the monastery within you, a quiet strength born of solitude, devotion, and the echoes of ancient wisdom. You find yourself standing before a weathered wooden door set into the gray stone wall of an old monastery, the rough texture of the ancient stones pressing against your fingertips. Some are ancient, their pages brittle with age. Others are newer, their ink still wet. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the window panes. But here, cocooned off from the elements, you feel a deep sense of calm. You run your fingers along the spines, marveling at the knowledge contained within these books. Each step echoes with the ghosts of countless footsteps that have trodden this path before you. A tarnished brass knocker takes the shape of a hand beckoning you inside. As you knock, the sound echoes through the still air, seeming to linger on and on. You step across a threshold and into a cool, dimly lit space. You wander through the cloister, noticing the cold, narrow corridors. As you pass by a small, barred window, you catch a glimpse of a Spartan dormitory. In the refectory, you sit at a long, bare table alongside other pilgrims, seeking solace in the simple life of the monastery. You spend your hours wandering the grounds, your footsteps crunching on gravel paths, the wind rustling through the trees. Carrying whispers of ancient prayers and Gregorian chants. As the day wanes, you join the monks in the chapel for evening prayer. The monks chant in Latin, their voices echoing through the high vaulted ceiling in the scriptorium. You witness the painstaking work of copying ancient texts. The monks' quill scratching across parchment, their brows furrowed in concentration. You wander into the chapter house, where sunlight streams through a rose window, painting the floor in hues of red and blue. You visit the abbey library, where towering shelves hold countless volumes bound in leather and gold leaf. Finally, you return to the guest quarters, where you sink into a rough woolen blanket on a narrow cot. As sleep claims you, you dream of monks in flowing robes, sun-dappled cloisters, and of whispered prayers carried on the wind. If you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe to my Smart Info channel. See you in another story.